What is up, guys? This is going to be my review for Arrow Season 6, Episode 14, titled Collision Course. So, as you can tell by the title of the episode, this is all about the civil war between Team Arrow, or Original Team Arrow, and New Team Arrow, which Original Team Arrow is Oliver, Diggle, and Felicity, and then New Team Arrow is Mr. Terrific, Black Canary, and Wild Dog. This is something that I've been anticipating ever since the breakup of the team in Episode 9. It's like, for me, that was really the single thing that could come out of this breakup between the two teams is a civil war. There's really no other point to bringing them up other than to serve for some drama. But the only storyline to come out of this was an Arrow civil war, and that is what we got. And honestly, it was a little underwhelming. There were some really great things to it, like there were scenes, or one scene where they were arguing, except for when Felicity made a joke which felt really out of place. It didn't work at all. It wasn't even a little bit funny. It really, this scene was really intense and had this power to it, but then Felicity cracked the joke, and then that all fell apart. But they did get back to the intensity, but Felicity kind of ruined it for a little bit. But the scenes or the one scene where Team Arrow, or Original Team Arrow, was arguing with New Team Arrow was a really intense scene, and I just wish that the rest of the Civil War was more like that, because it really wasn't. The fight scenes were really generic. It was really dark. You really couldn't see anything during the fight scenes. I don't know if that was intentional or anything, but it would have been so much better if it was light outside, or even in the morning, like in Captain America Civil War, because that worked really, really well. You see all these superheroes fighting each other in the light. It would have worked a lot better on Arrow if it was more like that. So the fight scenes were definitely really, really boring. Also, the fact that New Team Arrow put up even at all a fight against Green Arrow, he had to take each one on one-on-one. He couldn't. He was really able to take all three on by himself, as we saw in Crisis on Earth X when Dark Arrow did just that, and then Green Arrow beat Dark Arrow, or at least was like the same level. So it's definitely not non-believable that New Team Arrow could even stand up to fight Green Arrow. But the way you could think around that is that Green Arrow was holding back, but I don't know if he was. So it was a little weird. It's just that the fight scenes, it was just so dark and underwhelming. It was just really disappointing. I was disappointed by especially the fight scenes. They could have had some really awesome fight scenes, but there just wasn't. And just like the really intense scene where they were arguing, that was really undermined by Felicity just making a stupid joke, saying something like, "Oh, I hacked you, I guess." I don't know. It was a stupid joke. It was dumb. Felicity really got under my skin this episode. First of all, maybe I missed something, but there was no reason she needed to be out there in the field. She's always in the bunker, the guy in the seat, like they said in Spider-Man Homecoming. She was one of those characters. She never ever goes out into the field, or most of the time she doesn't go out into the field. So I don't know why she went out to the field in this episode. It didn't make any sense to me. And because she did go out in the field, second of all, she made the fight scenes less intense. Like I said, the fight scenes weren't that great anyway, but with Felicity being there, saying, making jokes, jumping in front of a bullet, and then Renee said, "Are you crazy?" And she says, "I guess I am." She just really got under my skin in this episode. She really made the argument scenes a little bit worse, and the fight scenes a little bit worse. This season so far, ever since episode 9, which was really bad, but ever since episode 10 is more like what I'm trying to say, she has been a pretty okay character, not really annoying me, but specifically in this episode, she really got under my skin, and she made an argument scene and part of the fight scene a little bit worse, which just really sucks. The reason that they were fighting, however, was actually pretty interesting. I thought it was just going to be that Team Arrow will want to stop Black Canary from killing Black Siren, but what it really is that the reason they don't want Black Canary to kill Black Siren is because Black Siren has the money that Kate and James took from the city, and the city is crumbling without it. That was actually a really interesting reason for the Civil War. There's also interesting drama in the background with Oliver being the mayor and all. It was pretty interesting. It's a lot more interesting than just that Team Arrow, or Green Arrow more specifically, wants to stop Black Canary from killing Black Siren. Because the reason for that is because that would be a little bit too similar to Captain America Civil War with Black Panther wanting to kill Winter Soldier. That's really what it felt like. That Black Canary was Black Panther, Black Siren was the Winter Soldier, and Vincent Sobel was Black Panther's father. It's really similar to that. So the fact that they added something else, just like in Civil War they had something else with the Sokovian Accords, here they have something else with the money that King James took from the city, and that's really the reason for this whole fight. Even though the fight didn't really turn out to be that great, I did like the reason more than I expected it to be. However, the reason with the money thing and Black Siren really felt like that it didn't really make sense that Team Arrow was defending Black Siren so much to the point that they would rather let her go than have Black Canary and the new Team Arrow capture her. That made 100% no sense to me. They were really able to catch her at the end when she ran away, and new Team Arrow, or more specifically Black Canary and Mr. Terrific, were going to run after her, and then Green Arrow and Diggle stopped them instead of going after her. It didn't make any sense. Their reasoning for defending Black Siren over new Team Arrow capturing her, torturing her, and getting the money back didn't make sense. I'm 100% sure that normally they would rather that new Team Arrow capture her, torture her, and get the money back than not get the money back at all, because the city clearly needs the money. Even though, I mean, $70 million, can't they just, like, have a bunch of billionaires donate? I know it's probably not that simple, but either way, they needed the money back, so I think that Green Arrow normally would rather new Team Arrow capture her, torture her, and get the money back, because Green Arrow really didn't have a problem with torture until... I don't think he ever had a problem with torture. That was a big focal point of the crossover in season 3, and that was after he stopped killing. So he never had a problem with torture. So really, his only problem here is that he doesn't like the new Team Arrow anymore, and is willing to do whatever it takes, even letting the bad guy go away and letting the money the city desperately needs get away in order to get one step ahead of them, which just really isn't in Green Arrow or Oliver Queen's character. That part didn't make sense to me. The fact that he let Black Siren go away, even though he could have captured her. She was running for like a second before he showed up. He could have captured her. He's definitely fast enough to run after her and tackle her and stop her and get the money back by doing something like interrogating her or torturing her, because like I said, Green Arrow has never had a problem with torture as far as I can remember. So that part of the conflict didn't really make sense. I think that original Team Arrow had much less of an argument than new Team Arrow here, because really it would have been a win-win for everyone for just a new Team Arrow to capture her, torture her for the money. The city gets the money back, and without killing her, because Mr. Terrific clearly talked Black Canary out of killing her, could have just had her there captured. It would have been a win-win for everyone, so it didn't really make sense for Team Arrow, or more specifically Green Arrow, to stop them from capturing her. That part I didn't get, but even without that, I still like the fact that they had more of a reasoning than just, I don't want you to kill Black Siren. One last thing to touch on is the Black Siren redemption arc of the episode, or the Black Siren redemption arc part of the episode, which was actually done pretty well in this episode. I actually felt like Black Siren was becoming more Black Canary-y, more good than she has in previous episodes, and something that happened in the end of the episode was something I think I predicted. I'm not 100% sure, but in the synopsis breakdown for episode 15, because it was called Doppelganger, I thought that maybe with the Black Siren redemption arc, Black Siren would become Laurel of Earth 1 or take over her life, and it seems like that is actually happening in this episode, or it happened at the end of this episode, because she said, I was kidnapped 2 years ago, which was when she was killed, or what she's trying to make other people think supposedly killed, and she escaped, which is actually a pretty interesting way to go about it. I actually really like this plot line. I think that it would be cool if she does take over Laurel of Earth 1's life, make everybody believe that she is alive, even though that wouldn't really make any sense, because there's a dead body in the grave. Probably not, it was probably just bones now, but it's still there, so that maybe they can claim that they buried somebody else, but I highly doubt it. Either way, they're probably going to say like something around it, but I think it's pretty interesting for Laurel of Earth 2 to take over Laurel of Earth 1's life. If she does completely redeem herself, become Black Canary, and joins the team, I think that would make a pretty good addition to the team, with new Team Arrow being off the team and really not having a place on the team anymore, because new Team Arrow and original Team Arrow completely hate each other at this point. So there's no room on the team for any of them, especially now with Wild Dog being injured and him maybe not even going out into the field ever again. There's really no room on Team Arrow for them. So Black Siren joining, and maybe even Arsenal joining, that would be amazing. If it's Green Arrow, Arsenal, and Black Canary / Siren, whatever her name is, and nobody else, that would be a perfect Team Arrow, and I'm hoping they build up to that. In conclusion, the Civil War was a little underwhelming, especially the fight scenes, and especially with Felicity being there for no reason, completely, or not, I keep saying completely, but it's not completely, it's slightly making the fight scenes / the argument scenes a little bit worse, even though the fight scenes were already pretty average. Anyway, the argument scenes had some intense moments, I'd admit that, which is something I really liked, and the reasoning behind the Civil War, even though it didn't make sense at times, was better than just a simple Black Canary wants to kill Black Siren and we have to stop her, because that kind of makes Black Canary the bad guy, so they're not really morally equal. But here they did make them more morally equal, even though it didn't really make sense for Green Arrow / Team Arrow's part. And I do like Laurel of Earth 2 becoming Laurel of Earth 1, or taking over her life. So I'll give this episode a 7.1 out of 10. But let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.